Hi, welcome to my Canva workshop where I'm going to show you some basics and some tips and tricks. For those who don't know me, my name is Kelly Kemp and I am a creative and tech VA supporting women in business with their graphics, websites and mailing lists. So I started out as a VA 2 years ago and I have sort of niche down and I now specialise in building WordPress websites, designing graphics for numerous uses, social media, websites, marketing, content repurposing, YouTube video thumbnails, all kinds of things. And I also set up mailing lists, automations and sales funnels. So today in the workshop we're going to look at how to create an image using a few different elements, and I'm going to let you know a few sort of tips and tricks and keyboard shortcuts and things to kind of help your productivity and workflow. And this is the image that we're going to create. Isn't it beautiful? It's really not my usual style, but it contains several different elements that I want to show you. So let's get going. Okay, so here we are in the Canva dashboard. Now I use Canva Pro. There is a free version, you don't have to pay for it. But you do get a lot more with the Pro version. You get access to a lot more free stock images and elements. You get the magic resize option, you get background removal tool, all kinds of things. I think if you are likely to use Canva, or you do use Canva quite a lot for designing graphics for your business, then I would say invest in the Pro version. If you don't use it so much, the free version is fine, you just don't get quite so much functionality. So we're going to create our design. You can search here for the different sizes of designs that you want to use. We're going to do a Facebook cover size. So we can start off with a blank template. There are lots of pre-made templates that you can use and they're great, but just a word of warning, people do use them quite often and you'll see them on social media or on Facebook if it's a Facebook cover, and it gets a bit samey. So if possible, it's always better to create your own, but the templates are fine to use as a base. So the first thing we need to do is change the background colour. If you click on the background, click on this little colour button up here, then you get a choice of colours. Now I've got my brand colours uploaded. Because I've got the Pro version, I can also upload colours for my clients. If you have the free version, you only get one palette. There are also some default colours, and you can also either add a hex code or you can use this little tool to choose a background colour. So we're going to go with this blue. So that's our background sorted. Now I want to have a border to help it stand out a bit. Now what I could do is hop over to the Elements tab and go to Shapes, and I could click on this border here. It's a very nice border, it's a very plain border. One little trick that you can do with borders, it's sort of preset to this width. If you want to narrow a border, if you drag it down really small and then drag out the edges, then your border becomes narrower. You can have it as narrow as you like. So that's one little trick. Or you can just leave it thick and chunky. But I don't want a plain border, so I'm going to make my own border. And this is another of my little Canva tricks. If you go to the Elements tab again and go to Grids, click on Grids, and that will fill the entire workspace. If you then make it whatever width you want your border to be, I want a lovely shimmery glittery border. So I'm going to search in the photos for a glittery picture. Let's have a look. I might even go glitz. Now, as you can see, some of these images have got pound signs on. That means that those are paid for. Even if you have Pro, you have to buy that image. To sort them out, again, this is only available in the Pro version. You can click on the filters and it brings up any that are free for you to use. So what I'm going to do is hold that and drag that over there. Don't think I like that one actually. I think I'm going to go back to the start and find a different one. Let's go with the one we used before. So I used this one before. So if we drag it into our grid, so that's the grid that we had before, we drag it into there, and then I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to drag that one down to the bottom, and then I'm going to do the same again on the sides. In fact, I think I might just duplicate it and turn it 90 degrees and move it over to that side like that, and duplicate again and move that over to that side. So that is our funky glittery border. You're not going to miss that. Right, now we need some images and text. So I am creating a Facebook cover for a boarding kennels. So I want a picture of a really cute dog. So if we search for dog, and it brings up loads of stock images and they're all very cute. So let's find one. Oh, he's cute, look at him. But as you'll see, this says remove watermark, so that means because that pound sign's there, I'm going to have to pay for this image. So if when you come to download it, it will tell you there, one premium image, 99p, and it shows you the image that is costing you the money. Now you'll find sometimes, especially if you're on the free version and you use a template, quite often they've used a paid for image within the template. But you don't have to pay for it. All you need to do is swap out the image for one that is free. So one of your own or one of the free stock images. So let's get rid of him. And I think we're going to have him instead because he's very cute. But I don't like this background. So we're going to get rid of that. And again, with the Pro version, it's super easy to do. If you click on effects when you have clicked on the photo, click on background remover, and it takes a few seconds, but the simpler the background, the quicker it is. The magic is happening. And there we go. The background is removed. So we now have our little pup all on his own. He's very cute. But I think he needs a bit more of something to help him stand out. So I'm going to hop back over to elements. And I'm going to scroll down to gradients. And then I'm going to find a nice sort of gradient shape to go behind him. I quite like this one, so I think I'll have that one. And what you can do with all the elements and pictures and things is grab this little toggle here and you can turn it, rotate it. You can also flip. So you can flip horizontal and you can flip vertical. And you can also, if you want to, you can change the colours of these gradients. So if you just click on a different colour, it will bring up a different colour for the gradient. I think we'll keep it the purple. So let's have that behind him. Again, if you drag the corners, you can change the size. And then if you right click, you can send backwards. So it goes behind your cutout image. You can also click on position and send it backwards or forwards there too. So there he is on his little background. Now what we can do, another little tip, is to group items. So if you either shift and click, it will select both of those items, and you can click group, and now they're just one item, so you can resize it as you need, and you can ungroup them. Or another way to do it is just to click and hold and drag over the elements that you want grouped to select them. So we can move that and we can resize that as we want. Now we can also flip him around. We'll see. I'm not decided yet which way I want him to face. Okay, now we need some text. To add text, you can either go to the text tab, and you've got options here to add different kinds of text, so a heading text, subheading text, or a body text. These again are set in the branding settings, only in the Pro version, or it's got some sort of pre-designed texts here that you can use and just change the words for your own. So what should we have? I think we'll have one of these. Can't decide. Let's choose that one. What's it doing? Let's choose that one. Okay. So we can move that. That's all grouped together again. But I don't need all of that, so we'll ungroup it. And then we'll change the text. And we can change the colour. So I want it white. And we can adjust the size by, again, dragging the corners or changing the font size here. It's a little bit too big. And you can also change the spacing between the letters or the line height between the lines. By default it's set at 1.4 if you're just adding text straight from here. But as you can see, there's quite a big gap in between the two lines, and I think for titles in particular, a narrower gap looks better. So just drag your slider until you're happy with the spacing between the lines. You might want it right up, or you might want it just a little bit apart. Change this text here. I want that a bit bigger, so I'm going to squash it onto 2 lines and just make it a little bit bigger. Now again, with text you can left align, justify, right align and centralise. I think I might just adjust the spacing a little bit on that one as well. And I'm going to delete that bit for now, so we don't want that. So that's our main text, but it's a bit, yeah. So another little trick I like to do, Canva annoyingly does not have a drop shadow effect, and it's the one thing that I would really like them to add. But to get around that, to make our text pop, we can change the colour. Let's change it to, I think I'm going to change it to the pink, and then we'll duplicate that but change that one to the white. Then we can overlay one on top of the other, and if you just use your arrow keys to adjust the positioning, and that makes your text pop a little bit more. And you can obviously change the background colour, you can have different colours depending on your design. Okay, so now we have our text and our image. I want to add some elements that are going to grab attention and highlight a special offer that the kennels have on. So I'm going to duplicate this text here, move it over here, and put special offer. I might make it pop. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, I might leave it like that for now. Right. But it doesn't really grab attention, does it? So what we need is a moving element. If we go over to the Elements tab again and search for circle, brings up a whole load of circles, and they're nice, they're okay, but they don't really do it, do they? So if we go to the filters and click on animated, it brings up all the moving circles, and this is what we want. I'm going to have this yellow one here, I think. We just make it a bit smaller, drag it over here around our special offer text. Okay, now that grabs your attention. Now I'm going to duplicate this text and just put what the special offer is. I think I want that white too. And I'm just going to adjust the spacing a little bit more on that one. Okay, so that's our special offer. But what I also want them to do is click the button. On your Facebook page, there's usually a button that says shop now or visit website or something like that, usually over in this corner. So I want an arrow to demonstrate where that is. Now if we keep the animation selected, it will show us all the different moving arrows that are available to us. Again, some of these are only pro, others you would have to pay for. I think I'm gonna go for this squiggly one here. So what we'll do is grab the toggle and turn it around a bit, move it over here, and we'll shrink it down. So that's just going to point to that button that's in the corner on a Facebook page. And I think I need a bit of text, don't I, to say what it's for. So if we just put and we can capitalise text by clicking on that button there. We change the colour, and I might make it bold this time. Sometimes you have to click off and on again. I think I'm going to put it here. Not really overly happy with the layout like that, so I think, no, I think I'll leave it. So there we have our all singing, all dancing image with various elements. So we've used moving elements, we've used images, we can flip the image around, it might look better that way. We can also add a filter if we want. So you can click through the various filters to see if any of them look a bit better. You can change the intensity of those as well. And if you have, for example, a dark photograph that needs a bit of brightening, you can adjust the settings here, the brightness and the contrast, things like that. You can add a vignette, which isn't applicable really on this cutout one. So that's just some things that you can do with images. For other items such as the text, for example, you can change the positioning. So if you quickly want to put your text in certain places, you can do that. Just moving it all around now. And you can also change the opacity or the transparency of your elements. So pretty much anything really. If you click on this little button up here, transparency, you can adjust the transparency of images. So that can be really useful. You might want to adjust that background. Oh, it's because it's grouped. Let's ungroup it. If you don't want it as bright. So that's how you can do that. Now I'm just going to run through some keyboard shortcuts that Canva has that will sort of speed up your design process. So if we're on our background and say we want a square or a rectangle, if you just press R, that will bring up your rectangle. So we can change the colour, you can obviously change the size, dragging the edges in and out, and we can centralise it. And if you want a circle, same thing, but with a C. Surprise, surprise. If you want to add a line, just press L. That will bring up a nice centralised line, very narrow. But if you wanted to, you can change the width of that line. And again, you can move it around. And if you want some text, just press, did you guess, T, and that will bring up some text. So you can obviously change the font and the size. And there's your text. Now if you wanted to bold your text, if you highlight it and then click Control and B, that will then embolden that text. Same thing if you want to italicize, Control and I, and if you wanted to underline it, Control and U. If you want to group some items, if you highlight the items you want to group, clicking and dragging, and Control and G, they are all now grouped together. So that's a quicker way of doing that. and you can press Control Shift and G to ungroup if you want to. Or a really useful one that I use quite a lot to move things around is to press Shift and the arrow keys, and you will move things around in 10 pixel increments. That I find especially useful if, let me demonstrate, if we go to Elements, pick a frame, and then if we add an image in there, just going to move this text out the way for a moment, and then say if I wanted to add my logo on top of that, if I drag my logo over, you'll see it fills the frame, which is not what I want to happen. So if you just add your logo, make it the size you want, and then do your Shift and arrow keys, you can then position it without it taking up the frame. So we can do it like that. If you want to copy and paste, it's very similar to, for example, a Word document. So Control and C, and then Control and V, or Command V on a Mac, and that will copy and paste any text or elements. To select all the items, if you press Control and A, that will select all the items, all the elements, all the images and text that you've added, and then you can do whatever it is you need to do with it. So you might want to group those, so they're now all grouped together, which means you can adjust the sizing all together. So those are just some of the keyboard shortcuts you can use in Canva. I'll add them all into a download, and hopefully you'll find that useful. Thank you for watching. I hope you found my workshop helpful. And if you've got any questions, then please do pop them in the comments and I will come back and answer them. And if you want to know any more about me, or you think I can help you at all with your business, you can find me at kellykempcreative.com. Thanks for watching.